What did you want to do when you left school? What did you want to be?
Well, you see, I wasn't clever, so I left when I was 15. And there wasn't a lot of choice that day, so I just came home. But I went to a place called Crepeston, where we did everything from housework to cooking the meals, to beekeeping, to dairying, and all these things. So it was a general course. So when I was 15, I went there and stayed in the place for 6 months. And then I did a commercial course, a year at typing, and all the things for bookkeeping. And then after that, I went to the domestic science school and did a year of housekeeping course. And then I came home, and in the mornings, I worked outside doing the hens, and then in the afternoon, I did my dad's books.
How did the war affect your family?
In the country, you weren't being involved in air raids. Well, I remember once being at my aunt's in Dice, and there was an air raid, and we all went downstairs and hid under a table and thought that because at Dice was, the airport was there, so, you know, that was where the bombs had been dropped.
So did you have blackouts?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody had blackouts.
Do you remember anything about them?
No, I just knew they were, every night you had to make sure that all the blinds were down and everything was blacked out. And of course, there wouldn't have been electricity. You would have been having a lot of, well, I think we had our own generator, but as a rule there was candles and things around. So there wasn't as much light as we have now in the houses, you know. It wasn't bright, but I'll tell you what I remember about the war. Not a lot, but I remember getting fed up because, you know, there was, you couldn't bake a lot. We were lucky because we were in the country because, you know, you had eggs and you had chicken and that. But Mother had an order from the baker. And every week this order was collected. And it was same sponge cakes every week. That was just her order, and that's what she got.
Like our
and
usual.
I was tired seeing the sponge and cakes.
So what did you do on Christmas?
You see, Christmas Day was never kept up here. Not like we keep Christmas now. The men on the farm would have all been working on Christmas Day. And after I was married, I had 4 children, and we always went to another place on Christmas Day, and I had been stopping in the shops in Lawrencekirk and buying things for the kids on the way to Christmas Day. So it wasn't held up like that. It was Hogmanay. It was kept. In fact, I always say I think we had Santa Claus on Hogmanay and not on Christmas Day, because everybody was working.
So could you tell us a bit about transport? Like how you got to places?
I don't remember going anywhere. Such a funny thing to say. Growing up, see, we just didn't go from home very much. And I always remember after I was at Stonehaven at school, one of the boys had a party and I wasn't even asked. And I tell you, I was quite hurt because I wasn't asked to this party. Because we were out of town, it was such a job getting back. And there was no petrol during the war. In fact, if there was something on, we were maybe a couple of miles from Kniff. If there was a West Drive, which we used to go sometimes, in the local hall, Father would make an excuse to go to the blacksmith so that he could leave his car at the blacksmith so that nobody could say that he'd taken the car to the West Drive, because there wasn't petrol to do. You weren't allowed to do any extra social things with the cars very much. But then, after we got, well, we'll see, maybe a few years after the war, the dances all started again, and then we went to the dances. And you didn't go with a boyfriend, you just went on your own to see who you would get.